X's powers are visually stunning with many cool little details. Did you manage to see them all? In this video, I will go through X's fights frame by frame and show all of those cool little details. First, we'll start with the trailer. When X first snaps, we see the 2D world come from his fingers like a bubble. That 2D world then comes out of Phobia Clone, and we see signs that previously weren't there. There is a no entry sign, and Stop Violence is written across the screen. Phobia Clone clearly didn't follow the rules and is knocked down, gets dragged away, and is absorbed into the piece of wood that he tried to hit Ahu with. And after that, the world once again turns 3D like a bubble. Moving on to when Phobia Clone starts to attack X, what's interesting in this scene is that we actually see Phobia Clone and X mid-transition between art styles. Then everything turns 2D, and when we go back to 3D, Phobia Clone is left in the wall. We then see X dodge a few blows, showing that he can fight even in his black hair form. This one is also pretty cool, because we clearly see the 2D art style come from the wall, and it is fully shown how Phobia Clone is absorbed into it. And then the iconic transformation. The art style change once again starts from his fingers and engulfs him. So cool seeing 2D and 3D interact like that. Something like a glitch effect goes through Phobia Clone and they become see-through for a few frames. We will see this a lot in this fight. Right before Phobia Clone throws the punch, the semi-realistic background disappears and we are left with an abstract background. I believe that X went into the wall at this moment. When X dodges, he leaves a kind of shadow behind. It's like he sees the attack coming and moves out of the way, leaving Phobia Clone to hit that shadow. Phobia Clone probably still sees him there, even though he actually moved. Also, every Phobia Clone, after throwing one punch or a kick, then start to glitch and sort of disintegrate? This one throws a punch before X even moves, and he still misses. And then glitches out and is never seen again. With this one, X kind of becomes a white shape. Don't know if this was an artistic choice. Animators sometimes add frames that look weird out of context, but work in motion. This might be it, or X really turned into that in order to dodge. Let's pretend it's the latter. And once again, Phobia Clone punches where the remnants of that white mass is, and not where X is. X once again turns into the white blob, and this time actually disappears for a couple of frames, before appearing again. This frame just looks funny to me. Look at Phobia Clone. Then X goes full disrespect mode and starts stepping on Phobia Clone. And Phobia Clone once again punches where X is not. The remaining 4 Phobia Clone glitch, but this time they stay, and we see X fighting those 4 from Ahu's POV. What's interesting is that while on the floor we see them from the side, but when they go to the wall we see them from the top. While we move through the wall, we see the same art style we saw from the outside, but now we are already in the wall with them. Then the bubble comes again. X probably changed the art style here again. It kind of looks like Phobia Clone shoves that bubble away and we see a completely new background. Despite this change, Phobia Clone is still failing miserably. Finally, Phobia Clone remembers that he can clone himself, and two of them attack X. What's really cool that behind X in the background you can see some arrows going away from X, kind of showing that the attacks are being pushed away from him and will not land. Then X touches the ground, which is actually the wall. Because remember, we saw them from above, from the outside. So X leaning to the right here means that he is now right side up. And we see light emerging and colors changing from where he touched the wall. And the solid color changes to a pattern of the wall. I believe that at this point, X got them out of the wall. Another light ring emerges and the art style changes to a more realistic one, and gravity finally kicks back in, making Phobia Clone fall. X snaps and we get a frame of the school pencil or charcoal type of drawing. And after a few black and white frames, we are back to the 3D we started with. That does not help Phobia Clone's aim though. Another snap, another black and white frame, and into the wall Phobia Clone goes. But this time, unlike what happened in the beginning, he can still move. He moves to punch X while still being in the wall. Genius. But ends up punching himself. This is interesting because it looks like he got out of the wall himself. And we see another Phobia Clone doing the same thing, emerging from the previous wall that they were in. X snaps. I really like this frame. It's cool. I am not really sure how we get from this to this, but it looks pretty. In the next frame, we end up in a wacky 2D world, and what is interesting is that one Phobia Clone is still in the wall, even though the entire world is 2D. We see an arrow that shows on what and where you should go in this dimension. X obviously knows this and immediately walks on the wall, but Phobia Clone stumbles before getting there. I really like the arrow indicating how the gravity works here. Maybe if X faced a smarter opponent, they would be able to notice it and adapt faster. Phobia Clone clones himself again, and the clone glitches and stumbles, showing how unprepared they are for this world's laws of physics. Then X does a cool flip. Damn, the man can do a split. The gravity starts working in the normal direction, making the two Phobia Clones fall down. Another snap, another set of cool frames. The one Phobia Clone that was in the wall stays in the wall, and the rest are back to 3D. Then X kicks up the same piece of wood where he sent the first Phobia Clone at the beginning. The dude was just chilling there this entire time. He then sends the piece of wood flying and snaps. The art style changes slightly before the snap. If this is intentional, then it's interesting why it happened like this. When the piece of wood hits Phobia Clone, we are back to the same 2D world and then switch to another. I like the arrow on the ground going at them, as if showing where they will go. And it looks like the first Phobia Clone is finally set free in this scene. All of them glitch and fall to the ground. X poses for the thumbnail and snaps again, sending them to the walls and back to 3D. I have no idea where Phobia Clone got the pink car and why did they think that running X over was a good idea, but they tried that. X snaps, his hand turns 2D, and the car turns into paper. Fabric? Paper? Something flat and soft. I like this image. 2D X standing in a 3D world, while part of it is turning 2D. We once again see a no entry sign and graffiti saying no crossing. Phobia Clone is forced to listen to the sign and can be seen flying out of the car. And the paper fabric thing that used to be a car envelops X. Now here is the interesting part. When we see things from Phobia Clone's point of view, we only see X standing and the world turning 2D. There is nothing in front of him. Like, look, there is nothing. Where did the car go? I love that one Phobia Clone jumps over the other here. Such a small detail, but it's there. And here, since Phobia Clone is so close, the entire screen glitches. Now I have a question for you. Since I can't make up my mind, is this paper fabric thing the car or an entirely different thing? Like, the car did turn into something like that, but in this scene we no longer see any traces of it. And looking at it logically, it is kind of weird for X to turn something into a sword every time he wants to use his own weapon. What if there is nothing around that he can turn and he needs a sword? So, this pink thing is either the car or a method he uses to store away his sword. Despite what it is, it's cool how it wraps around X's arm and then folds and morphs into a sword. And Phobia Clone have crowbars now. Out of seemingly nowhere? I swear, every scene of this fight is wallpaper material. X strikes a pose and is all cool looking. And he disappears again just like at the beginning. And we also go to the same art style like in the beginning. That cut went straight through his neck. X is not playing around. And the X is in the background. He is not letting anyone forget that he is X. Also, the blood is purple here. Oh wow! He really chopped off this guy's arms off. Understandably, Phobia Clone looks shocked. X then changes to reverse grip and chops the guy some more without even looking at him. The disrespect here. Okay, he's just flexing here. There is no way this move is practical in any way, shape, or form. But X likes to flex, so he does that. He does look cool, not gonna lie. Oh, he actually kicks Phobia Clone in the face here. Nice. I like that he actually knows how to fight and isn't just relying on his reality manipulations. Also, more X's in the background. Here, I think he sends a rock flying at Phobia Clone's legs, making him collapse. Wait a second. Does this Phobia Clone have a sword? That's definitely a hilt I see. Yeah, he does have a sword. He unsheathes it. The other one has one as well. Did they have them? Or did X just give them swords in order to flex some more? Also, more purple blood on X's sword. Damn, X is brutal here. He chopped that leg clean off. Also, I like the fact that Phobia Clone dropped their sword sheaths and they remain visible on the ground. Another cool little detail. X does another flip. He even has time to fix his glasses. And 2 more Phobia Clones spawn into existence, seemingly out of nowhere. Place your bets. What part of Phobia Clone will X chop off now? This time, he chops Phobia Clone's sword in half and slices his abdomen. I did not think this fight was this brutal. Just look at it. What are those idiots doing there? And how did X change from a forward grip to a reverse grip so fast? This frame is so funny. Phobia Clones, for some reason, decide to do acrobatics, and X is out there using the most impractical, cool-looking technique he can think of. Aww, this Phobia Clone tried to copy X and hold his sword in reverse grip. Too bad that he doesn't know that reverse grip is useless, and X only used it to look cool. Then, more Phobia Clones just spawn into existence. I am not 100% sure what is going on here, but it looks cool. And we get more flips. X really likes flips. It almost feels like he's doing all of these cuts at the same time. Cool black and white set of frames once again. This kind of looks like X holding up his sword. And we are back to the same CUD. The "oh-ho" and "wow" signs are a very nice addition. And of course, an X at the tip of the sword. Phobia Clones glitch, and after a snap, we get more cool frames, after which we are back to 3D, and Phobia Clones turn into dust. But they are very persistent, and new Phobia Clones form. X starts falling on his back, and an infinity symbol appears. After a snap, the world turns 2D in an art style we haven't seen before, and another infinity appears above X's head, like a halo. He does look like a god here. After that, we are back to 3D, but at a completely different place. Phobia Clone once again fails to adapt to the new gravity direction, and down they go. Also in the background, we can see a sign that says live broadcast of X, and another glowing sign of an X. And of course, the glowing streets form another X. Another snap, and of course the light forms an X. We see the change starting to engulf the building, only for it to cut to another pencil or charcoal drawing or whatever it is. A lot of cool frames, and the entire world is transformed into abstract flowing shapes. It seems that gravity has left a chat here. Another snap, another set of black and white frames. And we are back to 3D in another location. And gravity has re-entered the chat. Actually, we are just outside the city, since we can see the buildings in the distance here. X, while being upside down for some reason, snaps, and we go to space. In a 2D style we haven't seen before. Phobia Clone, being very persistent, still tries to attack. It's cool that the shapes in the background start to come together and form the back alley where all of this started. X snaps, and Phobia Clone turns into this before disappearing. X's hand turns a bit transparent here, and we return to 3D in the same place that we started, with Phobia Clones all over the walls. That was a lot, and everything made perfect sense. I can't imagine how long it took to plan everything out and then to animate this entire thing. But we are not done yet. Time to go to the actual show. Let's take a look at the Dragon Boy fight. Before we go to X, let me point out how scared Nice looks here. He crossed his arms and closed his eyes tightly. He didn't expect to survive that punch. We see some impact frames, and it looks like Nice is yanked out of there. What is interesting is that Dragon Boy kind of did finish his blow while Nice was still visibly there. It's similar to how Phobia Clone's punches didn't land even though X hadn't moved yet. And from Dragon Boy's expression, he definitely thought that he had hit Nice. He only looks confused after the fire is gone and he sees nothing in front of him. The fact that it takes so long for Nice to come to and that he is lying down indicates that he wasn't simply yanked out and something happened in between to disorient him like that. We see that X has no problems falling upside down and then doing something about it. Maybe in this scene he was upside down because he was actually falling down and then snapped to stop himself. After the snap, X turns full cartoon mode. The shapes in the background kind of remind me of these ones. But X himself is animated way less realistically. Maybe the fact that he is drunk has something to do with it. Yeah, there is no realism here. He snaps again and the art style changes. Now he's surrounded by cans. Yeah, this one is definitely because he is drunk. He rides a can into Swanky World that turns into a yellow line, and after a snap and a few impact frames, we go back to 3D and see that he is actually riding a bridge cable. It would be very interesting to see how this entire sequence of events looked from an outsider's perspective. Did X just teleport to them? Did they see him move to the side? They definitely couldn't see the entire thing, because there was no indication of that. X doesn't stay on the cable for too long before falling off. Yeah, no, after looking at this, he definitely was falling in this one. During the fall, he manages to get right side up again, and snaps. And we get him in various different styles. And it looks like he is in different locations here. In this one, for example, we see a street sign. This one is just flowers and X's, and I think that says hero. This one is a pencil drawing, and my favorite, this one. It looks like a broken city is being built behind him. It looks cool, that's why I like it. And we are back to 3D, but not for long. It's interesting that he didn't land softly. It looks like he stopped himself there and started to accelerate again, forcing him to bend his knees when he landed. Then we get this cool frame, and the world starts turning 2D again. X here looks like he's in a comic book style. Then he turns to regular 2D, but the 3D world around him turns gray. And in these shards, we see the same worlds that we saw in this sequence. Then the 3D world goes back to normal, but the 2D one is blue for some reason. Finally, the 2D world is normal, but the 3D world is now in a comic book style. It's like the inside and outside switched from the beginning to the end. And finally, after a bit of glitching, we are fully 2D again. And of course, we have the scene of a 3DX in a 3D world grabbing a 2D Dragon Boy and crumbling him like paper. And the transformation back to 2D is once again done through a comic book style here. In next actual episode, we will see many more styles and cool details. But I will have to make a part 2 for it, because this video is already long and it will take forever to edit. And also, my voice is dying. Hope you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one. Bye!